There are stories in history that defy logic, tales so mysterious and awe-inspiring that they blur the line between legend and reality. This is one of those stories. The year was 1327. France was still recovering from waves of war and famine, and the Black Death loomed just over the horizon. In the humble village of Villeneuve, a baby was born to a poor farming family. His parents, Jacques and Marie, were devout Christians, but they had no idea that their child would soon be regarded as a messenger of God. From an early age, Jean was different. Unlike other children, he rarely cried. He seemed to have a deep awareness of the world around him, his bright blue eyes filled with a wisdom beyond his years. Villagers whispered that there was something special about him, but no one could have guessed the miracles that would soon follow. Jean was 5 years old when his first miracle was recorded. A local farmer, Guillaume, had been suffering from a festering wound on his leg for months. The infection had spread, and the village priest had already performed last rites, expecting the man to die within days. One afternoon, little Jean approached the dying man. Without fear or hesitation, he placed his small hands on Guillaume's leg. Those who were present would later swear that they saw a faint glow surrounding the boy's hands. Within moments, the putrid smell of infection faded, and Guillaume gasped, his pain suddenly gone. The wound, which had been black and rotting, was now clean and pink, as though it had never been touched by disease. Word spread quickly. The boy had performed a miracle. As the years passed, Jean's reputation grew. People traveled from villages and towns far beyond Villeneuve, desperate for his touch. He healed the blind, the crippled, and even those afflicted with diseases that no physician could cure. Chronic fevers, tumors, festering wounds, all vanished with a single touch. Eyewitness accounts became so numerous that even the skeptical clergy in Avignon, the seat of the papacy at the time, took notice. Church officials sent emissaries to investigate the boy, expecting to uncover fraud. But what they found astounded them. Not only did Jean's healings appear genuine, but his very presence seemed to bring peace to those around him. A French bishop, Pierre de Vaucelles, wrote in his journal, "I have seen with my own eyes what I cannot explain. This child carries within him the light of the divine. I have watched the dying rise, the blind weep with new sight, and the broken walk once more." In 1336, at the age of 9, Jean was brought to the Grand Cathedral of Chartres. There, in front of hundreds of witnesses, he performed what would become his most famous miracle. A noblewoman, Lady Marguerite de Rouen, had been paralyzed for over a decade. Her husband had spent a fortune seeking the best physicians in Europe, but none had been able to help her. She was carried into the cathedral on a litter, her face pale, her body frail. Jean knelt beside her, placing both hands on her legs. A hush fell over the crowd as the boy closed his eyes in prayer. Moments later, Marguerite let out a cry of shock, of joy. She stood. The crowd erupted in gasps and cheers. Some fell to their knees in prayer, while others wept openly. The miracle had been undeniable. From that day forward, Jean was known not just as a healer, but as a living saint. As Jean grew older, the weight of his gift became heavier. More and more people sought him out, desperate for his healing touch. He barely had time to rest, to play, to simply be a child. He was no longer just Jean of Villeneuve. He was the miracle boy of France. But with fame came danger. Not everyone believed in Jean's divine power. Some accused him of witchcraft, whispering that his abilities were unnatural. Others, including certain members of the church, saw him as a threat. If a mere boy could perform miracles without the sanction of the clergy, what did that mean for the authority of the church? Jean was taken to Avignon for questioning. Pope Benedict XII himself is said to have met the boy, testing his faith and his abilities. After days of deliberation, the church declared Jean's healings to be true miracles, but under one condition: he would be placed under their guidance, kept within monastery walls to prevent misuse of his gift. Jean's years in the monastery were quiet, but not without miracles. Though confined, he continued to heal those who sought him. Then in the winter of 1340, at just 13 years old, Jean fell gravely ill. The boy who had healed so many could not heal himself. Some say it was exhaustion. Others whispered that he had taken on the suffering of too many. As he lay dying, Jean's final words were recorded by a young monk. "I was never meant to stay long. My gift was never mine to keep. Though his life was brief, Jean's story did not end with his death. Pilgrims visited his burial site for centuries, and many claimed that miracles continued to occur there. In the years following his passing, some even called for his canonization, though he was never officially declared a saint. Today, the tale of little Jean of France remains a mystery. Was he truly touched by God? Was he a misunderstood healer ahead of his time? Or was his story embellished over the centuries? Perhaps we will never know, but what we do know is this. His story has endured, whispered in the quiet corners of history, carried forward by those who believe in the miraculous. Jean's story invites us to ask deeper questions about the nature of faith, miracles, and the mysteries of life. What do you think? Was Jean of Villeneuve truly a miracle worker, or is his story one of faith and legend, passed down through time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into history's mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and never stop believing in the impossible.